Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to A Raisin in the Sun. This is assignment number one, but this will be part B. I will be reading the second half of assignment number one. When we left off the other day, it was right around the part where Travis was asking about if he could have money for, the teacher said he needed money for class. And remember, we talked about this. Ruth doesn't have a lot of money. She wants to help her son, but she doesn't feel like they have enough money to give for something like that. She needs it more for like bills and food and stuff. And then he left. He asked if he could go work at the store and carry groceries, which is actually kind of an awesome thing. He wants to go make the money himself. And she told him, but you're not allowed to spend any of that money that you make on anything silly like caps or anything like that. And that's where we left off. So Travis said with sullen politeness, yes, and he turns in outrage to leave. His mother watches after him as in his frustration. He approaches the door almost comically. When she speaks to him, her voice has become a very gentle tease. So she realizes that her son is upset with her. But, what can she do? She feels like she can't help him. And again, you have to ask yourself and you have to notice, just by the way they act with each other, how does she really feel about her son? And you're going to see by the way she talks to him now, just how truly she loves him and wants the best for him. Listen, Ruth mocking as she thinks he would say it. Oh, mama makes me so mad sometimes. I don't know what to do. She waits and continues to his back as he stands stock still in front of the door. I would kiss that woman goodbye for nothing in this world this morning. So right now she's pretending to be him and she's speaking in his voice. And she's making fun of him, yes, but in a loving, nice way. The boy finally turns around and rolls his eyes at her, knowing the mood has changed and he is vindicated. He does not, however, move toward her yet. Not for nothing in this world. She finally laughs aloud at him and holds out her arms to him, and we see that it is a way between them, very old and practiced. He crosses to her and allows her to embrace him warmly, but keeps his face fixed with masculine rigidity. All right, so he knows she loves him, but he's still upset that he's not getting the money. She holds him back from her presently and looks at him and runs her fingers over the features of his face with utter gentleness. Now, whose little old angry man are you? Travis, the masculinity and gruffness starts to fade at last. Oh, golly, mama. Ruth mimicking. Oh, golly, mama. She pushes him with rough playfulness and finality toward the door. Get on out of here. You're going to be late. Travis, in the face of love, new aggressiveness. Mama, could I please go carry groceries? Honey, it's starting to get so cold evenings. Walter, coming in from the bathroom and drawing a make-believe gun from a make-believe holster and shooting at his son. What is it he wants to do? Ruth, go carry groceries after school to the supermarket. Walter, well, let him go. Travis, quick to his ally. I have to. She won't give me the 50 cents. Walter, to his wife only. Why not? Ruth, simply and with flavor. Because we don't have it. Walter, to Ruth only. What'd you tell the boy things like that for? Reaching down into his pants with a rather important gesture. Here, son. He hands the boy the coin, but his eyes are directed to his wife's. Travis takes the money happily. All right, so check out what's going on here. He's kind of undercutting his wife and making himself the good guy while she's the bad guy. Because remember, she told the boy, we don't have the money to give you. We don't have extra money for you to bring to school. And instead, Walter, he doesn't want to let his son down. And I think he's also kind of messing with his wife. This might go back to the whole, I don't want scrambled eggs, but she starts to scramble them, right? So he's kind of digging back at her. So he looks at her while he gives him the 50 cents and says, here you go, son, take the money. So, and look at this, reaching into his pants with a rather important gesture. Here, son. So by doing it, he's really undercutting his wife. Travis says, thanks, Daddy. He starts out. Ruth watches both of them with murder in her eyes. Walter stands and stares back at her with defiance and suddenly reaches into his pocket again on an afterthought. Okay, so he gave the boy the 50 cents and Ruth is mad at him because she just told the boy they don't have it. And Walter proves her wrong by saying, sure, here you go, son. But look what he does now. And this is totally to mess with his wife. And I think to hook up his son, which he wants to do. Now, remember, back it all up. I've talked to you about this already. The whole thing about this is Walter wants to open up a business someday, right? And why? Because he wants to share the wealth with his family. He wants his son to have all the things that he didn't have. He wants his son to have all the dreams in the world, and that includes money. Listen, in fact, here's another 50 cents. And by the way, he says this without even looking at his son, still staring hard at his wife. So he's giving it to the boy, an extra 50 cents, and he's doing it to say to Ruth, what are you doing? We can give this boy money. We're not going to stop his dreams. Buy yourself some fruit today, or take a taxi cab to school or something. Travis, whoopee! He leaps up and clasps his father around the middle with his legs, and they face each other in mutual appreciation. So now Walter has made it so that he's the really good guy and Mama is the really bad guy. And that's not fair, but that's what he just did. Slowly, Walter Lee peeks around the boy to catch the violent rays from his wife's eyes and draws his head back as if shot. Now, Walter Lee knows what he just did, and now he's trying to keep away from his wife because he knows she's really angry, as she should be. Walter, you better get down now and get to school, man. Travis at the door. Okay, goodbye. He exits. Walter after him, point and reply. That's my boy. She looks at him in disgust and turns back to her work. You know what I was thinking about in the bathroom this morning? Ruth. No. Walter, how come you always try to be so pleasant? Ruth, what is there to be pleasant about? Walter, you want to know what I was thinking about in the bathroom or not? Ruth, I know what you was thinking about. Walter, ignoring her. About what me and Willie Harris was talking about last night. Ruth, immediately, a refrain. A refrain means she says this all the time. And she says, Willie Harris is a good-for-nothing loudmouth. Walter, anybody who talks to me has got to be a good-for-nothing loudmouth, ain't he? And what you know about who is just a good-for-nothing loudmouth? Charlie Atkins was just a good-for-nothing loudmouth too, wasn't he? When he wanted to go into the dry cleaning business with him, when he wanted me to go into the dry cleaning business with him, and now he's grossing $100,000 a year. $100,000 a year. You still call him a loudmouth, Ruth bitterly. Oh, Walter Lee. She folds her head on her arms over the table. Now, I just want to point that out. She folds her head on her arms over the table. So why is she putting her head down in defeat? Is it she's tired of having this conversation with her husband? Is she angry at him because of the money for the boy? Or is it something more? Walter, rising and coming to her and standing over her. You tired, ain't you? Tired of everything. Me, the boy, the way we live, this beat up hole, everything, ain't you? She doesn't look up. She doesn't answer. So tired, moaning and groaning all the time. But you wouldn't do nothing to help, would you? You couldn't be on my side that long for nothing, could you? All right, so here we go. We know that this check is coming in the next couple of days, right? We don't know where it's coming from. We will find that out. We don't even know how much it's for. But we're getting the knowledge, the feeling here that Walter wants that money so that he and Willie Harris can start this business. Now, Ruth, on the flip side of that, she doesn't want him to take the money that they're getting and waste it on a business that might not work. Now, she's worried also that this guy, Willie Harris, is a good-for-nothing loudmouth. That's what she says. Just remember that. She doesn't think he's a good guy. And why would you ever go into business with somebody that isn't really a good guy? Also, I mean, I don't know if she's worried that Willie Harris is going to, diss them somehow or rob them somehow. I don't think it's that. I think she would come out and straight say that if that's what she believes. But I do think she believes that, Willie Harris probably doesn't have any business experience. So to give him your money to start a business with to somebody who has no experience, that's taking a giant risk. And think about it. If they have extra money coming in, what is it that they really need? I mean, we've known they live in this apartment that is old and it has one window. It has no bathroom. There's no room for them to live in there comfortably and whatnot. Remember, Walter keeps the boy up at night because he has no living room to stay in because the boy sleeps in the living room. So in reality, the best thing they could do with money is get the heck out of this apartment, either find a better, bigger apartment somewhere else, or even more importantly, find a home. Because think about what it means to live in your own home. It's really important. It'll probably have a bathroom or two as well, which is a big deal. So now Walter believes that his wife is against him and against his dreams. Now think about this. His whole life, he's had white America telling him his dreams don't mean anything. In fact, you can't have dreams because we're not going to let you attain them. So in his life, the government's been holding him down. White America's been holding him down. And now he believes he has a chance with this money. And who is, quote unquote, holding him down? His wife is also not allowing him to, realize his dreams. Now, flip that around. Yes, the government and white America is against Walter Lee and all blacks at this time. Yes, they were. Absolutely. But is his wife against him? No. See, she just doesn't believe that A, he's a good businessman or that they should risk their money on a business, and B, that you can trust somebody, this guy, Willie Harris. So let's continue and see what happens. He says, you couldn't be on my side that long for nothing, could you? Walter, please leave me alone. A man needs for a woman to back him up. Walter, Mama would listen to you. You know she'd listen to you more than she'd do me and Benny. She'd think more of you. All you have to do is just sit down with her when you're drinking your coffee one morning and talking about things like you do, and he sits down beside her and demonstrates graphically what he thinks her methods and tone should be. You just sip your coffee, see, and you say easy like that. You've been thinking about that deal Walter Lee's so interested in, about that store and all, and sip some more coffee. Like what you're saying ain't really that important to you. And the next thing you know, she'd be listening good and asking you questions. And when I come home, I can tell her the details. This ain't no fly-by-night proposition, baby. I mean, we figured it out. Me and Willie and Bobo. Ruth with a frown. Bobo? I mean, so I just want to point something out. Check it out. I mean, Walter has been really planning this out. And here's another thing. What is he asking Ruth to do? He's not asking Ruth to give him the money. He's asking Ruth to ask Mama to give him the money. So we're finding out now that this check that's coming in, this is Mama's money that's coming in. This is her check. Now, where is she getting this check from? We're going to have to wait and find that out. And how much is the check for? I'm getting the feeling that this check is a lot of money considering he wants to use it to open a business. It takes a lot of money to open up a business, right? So he's got it all planned out. And he wants Ruth to sit and talk to Mama and say, you know, Mama, I think you really should let Walter Lee have that money. I think it's a good idea for the family. Now, again, I want to point this out. Walter Lee is not selfishly trying to get this money for himself, just for himself. He wants this business. Yes, he wants to open the business himself, but he wants to share the wealth with the family. He wants everybody to get a piece of this. And I think if he did do well, he would, of course, get a home or a better apartment. But the way Ruth sees it is, no, that's crazy. We should use this money now to get the home or the apartment and get out of this place. Also, he just said they figured it out with him and Willie and Bobo. Now, I don't know if anybody knows Bobo. Has anybody ever heard the phrase Bobo before? There used to be a very famous clown called Bobo the Clown way, way back in the day. So this guy has been named after a clown. Now, I don't think that's the name his parents gave him. It's probably a nickname that his friends gave to him. But what does it tell you that his friends nicknamed him Bobo after a clown? Would you want to give your money to somebody named Bobo to share, to start a business with? That's why Ruth said, with a frown, Bobo? Yeah. You see this little liquor store we got in mind cost $75,000, and we figured the initial investment on the place be about $30,000. See, that'd be $10,000 each. Of course, there's a couple of hundred you got to pay so as you don't spend your life just waiting for them clowns to let your license get approved. So he says, okay, we want to open up a liquor store, and it's going to cost $75,000 to open up that liquor store. And to start it, the original investment is $10,000 a piece. Now, I don't know what the check is for. Maybe it's $10,000. And I'll tell you right now, $10,000 in the 1940s would be a lot of money. In fact, why don't we check right now? Hold on. Let me present to you. Can I present to you? Let's stop for a second. Let's present to you a Chrome tab. Let me go to whatever. We'll go to here. And then I'm going to, you can see what I'm doing. Let's go to Google. All right. We'll go to google.com. Oh, I don't want Google Drive. I want google.com. Hold on one second, please. Good. And now once we get to Google, let's type in how much money would $10,000 in 1945 be worth today? Just so we can find out. We get a good idea. Let's see. It says it would be about $145,000. So I don't know how much the check is worth, but let me go back to, I'll stop presenting. You don't need to see that anymore. Let's go back to where I'm reading. Okay. So $150,000, let's just say that. So $10,000 then would be $150,000 today, which is a lot of money, as you know. $150,000. Could you imagine if you had $150,000, you could open up a business with that right about now. It's probably just about the right amount of money to start like a pizzeria or, I don't know, maybe a Subway sandwich shop or something like that. But remember, it is a risk to do that. you're not guaranteed. If I have 150,000 and I spend it all on a business, let's say I open up a pizzeria and that pizzeria goes out of business, nobody comes to buy any of my food, nobody likes it, then that 150,000 is poof, it's gone. I don't get it back. And by the way, that happens to a lot of businesses in America. They don't work, you lose the money. So it is a giant risk. And I don't know if you heard at the end there, he said, of course, there's a couple of hundred you got to pay so you don't spend your life just waiting for them clowns to let your license get approved. So, and she says, you mean graft? Graft means, it means bribing people. So what he said is, you know, you got to pay $30,000 to get your liquor license and all that. But he also said, you're also going to have to pay off people like in the government or the liquor store authorities, and you're going to have to give them money on the side. So not only am I going to have to spend $10,000 on, you know, my initial investment, but also, oh, by the way, I guess he's thinking that Willie Harris and Bobo are each going to kick in their own 10,000, so they'll have 30 and they can open up this liquor store. They'll also have to spend some more money bribing people as well. And if you're Ruth and you're listening to this and it's like, okay, you want to open up a liquor store with Willie Harris, who I know is a good for nothing loudmouth, as she says. So she doesn't think he's a good person. Also, somebody named Bobo, who's named after a clown. You want to go into business with somebody named Bobo, named after a clown? I don't think so. But also, you're going to have to bribe people as well. So if you're Ruth, you're going, I don't want to have anything to do with this. But Walter, again, this is his dream, and he does not want anybody to stop him, most importantly, his own wife. And then if we're finding out that it's the mom who has that money coming in, and we'll find out soon how much money it is, then mama would also be squashing and deferring his dream. And think about that. It's one thing to have white America and the government do that to you. I mean, and that's awful. But to have your own family do it to you, which means he has nowhere he can turn. So Walter, frowning impatiently, don't call it that. See there? That just goes to show you what women understand about the world. Baby, don't nothing happen for you in this world unless you pay somebody off. Ruth, Walter, leave me alone. She raises her head and stares at him vigorously, then says more quietly, eat your eggs. They're going to be cold. So I'm getting the feeling again, based upon the way they're talking, that this conversation has been happening every morning for a while now. That's why Ruth is so tired about it, I think. Walter, straightening up from her and looking off. That's it. There you are. Man say to his woman, I got me a dream. His woman say, eat your eggs. Sadly, but gaining in power. Man say, I got to take hold of this here world, baby. And woman say, eat your eggs and go to work. Passionately now. Man say, I got to change my life. I'm choking to death, baby. And his woman say, in utter anguish, as he brings his fist down on his thighs, your eggs is getting cold. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. He just said it. Straight up said it. I got to change my life. I'm choking to death, baby. And he means metaphorically. He means if he doesn't get this chance, this dream that it's going to kill him. And it's going to, remember our poem in the beginning, Harlem, or does it explode, right? I think right now he's saying, if I don't get this dream, it's going to explode on me, inside me, and I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go nuts. And his woman say, eat your eggs. Your eggs is getting cold. Ruth, softly. Walter, that ain't none of our money. Walter, not listening at all or even looking at her. So it is not their money. It is all mama's money. And it's interesting that Walter is making plans for mama's money. But again, I will point out, if he does do this business, he wouldn't shut out mama of any profits. It would all be shared with the family. He wants to do it for everybody. It sounds like he's being selfish, but he is not. He wants this dream so that he and his family can live well. And why shouldn't they? And why can't they? This is America. Everybody has an equal chance at success, or they should. But remember, in the 1940s, they did not, certainly not for black people. And he's tired of being treated this way. And he's looking for help from his own family. And he feels that they're not giving him that help. Listen, this morning I was looking in the mirror and thinking about it. I'm 35 years old. I've been married 11 years, and I got a boy who sleeps in the living room very, very quietly. And all I got to give him is stories about how rich white people live. Ruth, eat your eggs, Walter. So, I mean, listen, he's over here pouring his heart out to her, and she's not listening to him. She's like, whatever, eat your eggs and go to work. I'm done with you. Now, is that wrong and rude of her? Absolutely. But if this conversation has been happening every day, at what point does it end? And that's why Ruth says, just eat your eggs, Walter. I'm done. And Walter slams the table and jumps up. Damn my eggs. Damn all the eggs that ever was. Then go to work. Walter looking up her, see, I'm trying to talk to you about myself, shaking his head with the repetition. And all you can say is eat them eggs and go to work. Ruth wearily, honey, you never say nothing new. I listen to you every day, every night, and every morning, and you never say nothing new. See what Ruth isn't. This is what's going on here. They're both right, right? Walter wants this chance, this dream, and she's saying you can't waste that money on a crazy dream with these two fools. But again, she's not recognizing that this is his dream and it's being crushed. And she didn't read Harlem, that poem. She needs to. I mean, she lives that poem, of course, but she needs to understand what's happening to her husband. Now, I don't think at the same time he's not understanding what's happening to her. He's not asking her why she looks that way, why she's acting that way. What is her dream with the money? What does she think they should do? No, he's only going for himself. So they both kind of have to do more listening to each other. But again, Walter feels like his own wife is against him. She's not against him. She's just against his idea. And you never say nothing new, shrugging. So you would rather be Mr. Arnold than be his chauffeur. I would rather be living in Buckingham Palace. And not for nothing, I guess, she said, so you would rather be Mr. Arnold than be his chauffeur? So we just found out what Walter does for a living. He's a chauffeur for a rich white guy named Mr. Arnold. And she looked at him and said, okay, so you'd rather be the rich white guy. I understand that. I'd rather be the Queen of England. So I guess what she's saying is, I can't change the world, honey. I'm sorry. I live in the world and I do the best I can. But he's saying to her, actually, you can change. You can change my world. You can help me to have a chance to become Mr. Arnold, that I can become the rich guy and I can have my own chauffeur. And again, why can't Walter have that? He deserves it. He should have all those things, but he's got to take that risk. Walter, that is just what is wrong with the colored woman in this world. Don't understand about building their men up and making them feel like they're somebody, like they can do something. Ruth, dryly, but to her, there are colored men who do things. Oh, snap. Did you hear that? He just said a job of a colored woman, a black woman, is to build up their black men, make them feel like there's somebody, to help them out and help their dreams out. You know what? He's probably right about that. Women should help their men with their dreams, but flip it around. Men should also help women with their dreams. And I don't hear him asking her about hers. I'm just saying. Don't understand about building their men up and making them feel like they're somebody, like they can do something. And listen to what Ruth says. And she says it to hurt his feelings. There are colored men who do things. I think what she's saying there is, you don't do anything, Walter, and that's not fair. That's not fair at all. He goes out and works every day so that they can have this apartment. It's not the best apartment, but he helps pay for it. We're going to find out in a little while that he helps pay for his sister's school, for her college, for medical school. Wait until you hear about that. So Walter does do something. It's not his fault that he's not allowed to do any more, that society, white society, and the government doesn't let him go to college, doesn't let him have these other jobs and these opportunities. It's not his fault. But again, Ruth is tired of this conversation. The way Ruth sees it is, you know what? We're stuck in this. Let's make the best of it. Let's not bother ourselves with things we can't have. And for Walter, that's not living. Walter wants these dreams, and he deserves these dreams. Come on. Why can't he have these dreams? And why shouldn't he have the chance to go realize them? Of course he should. This is America. Everybody should have that fair chance. Walter, no thanks to the colored woman. Ruth, well, being a colored woman, I guess I can't help myself none. She rises. So, I just want to point out, remember the poem, Harlem? And it was, what does this do to the black person? What does it do to have somebody have their dream deferred? Well, one of their answers, I think Lorraine Hansberry, the author of this play, is trying to show us one of the things it does, not only does it drive them crazy, but it also jams up their relationships. Because think about this. You've got a family of black people, and they're all working hard for white people. They're all slaving around doing this stuff for little money, living in a crappy place, right? How do they get out of that, right? They need dreams to get out of that, but they're being held back. So let's continue. Ruth, being a colored woman, I guess I can't help myself none. So again, that's what my point was. Lorraine Hansberry wants to show you what deferring dreams not only does to the individual, but what it does to the family as well. Because if you're a family and you're not happy, who do you take your problems out on, ladies and gentlemen? You take it out on your family. Why? Because they're there, and also because you know they're not going to leave you. We hope. So you take out your pains, your frustrations on your family. And that's what's happening here. And look what it's doing to Walter and Ruth. It's breaking them apart from each other. And without each other, they're in big trouble. She rises and gets the ironing board and sets it up and attacks a huge pile of rough, dried, clothes, sprinkling them in preparation for the ironing and then rolling them into tight, fat balls. Walter mumbling, "We one group of men tied to a race of women with small minds." So now, and that's sad, he's blaming her. He says she has a small mind. So he's angry at her because of the situation. It's just what I was saying. You take it out on the people you love, and that's what they're doing to each other. And now, perfect timing, here comes the sister. She's just waking up. So let's learn about Benita. Benita enters. She is about 20, as slim and intense as her brother. She is not as pretty as her sister-in-law, but her lean, almost intellectual face has a handsomeness of its own. She wears a bright red flannel nightie, and her thick hair stands widely about her head. Her speech is of, let's learn about her. Then we're going to tell by this description. Her speech is a mixture of many things. It is different from the rest of the families insofar as education has permeated her sense of English, and perhaps the Midwest rather than the South has finally, at last, won out in her inflection. So we're learning that she's very educated. She's been going to a lot of school, and it affects the way she speaks and talks. Listen. But won out in her reflection, but not altogether, because overall of it is a soft slurring and transferring use of vowels, which is the decided influence of the South side. So she's educated, and she uses, she speaks in a way that shows she's educated, but she's also a local, and she's proud to be a local, it seems like. And she can still chat with people who are uneducated. She sounds like she belongs in this place. She passes through the room without looking at either Ruth or Walter and goes to the outside door and looks a little blindly out to the bathroom. Notice she doesn't even do anything except look out into the bathroom, because remember, they share the bathroom out there. So every morning she comes out and has to look and hope that one of the neighbors isn't in the bathroom. She sees that it has been lost to the Johnsons. So the Johnsons, one of their neighbors, they've taken the bathroom over for a while. So she's in charge. She has to wait. Think about living in this place, having to wait to use the bathroom in the morning. That's sometimes the time when you most have to go. She closes the door with a sleepy vengeance and crosses to the table and sits down a little defeated. I'm going to start timing those people. Walter, you should get up earlier. Beneath her face in her hands. I'm sorry, I lost my spot. She's still fighting the urge to go back to bed. Really, would you suggest dawn? Where's the paper? Walter, pushing the paper across the table to her as he studies her almost clinically, as though he has never seen her before. You a horrible-looking chick at this hour. Beneath dryly. Good morning, everybody. Did you hear that? So this is his sister, and the first thing he says to her is, you a horrible-looking chick at this hour. So he called her ugly. And notice her response, dryly. She says, good morning, everybody. She doesn't even register that he said that. So I'm getting the feeling now that there is a problem between Walter and Benita. Now, brother and sister. Do brothers and sisters have problems? Absolutely. Do they kind of argue and make fun of each other? Absolutely. But should they love each other and respect each other? Absolutely. Here's the question. Let's find out. Do Benita and Walter love and respect each other? I believe there is love, but I'm not so sure about the respect. And let's find out why. Why does Walter have a problem with Benita? In a moment, we're going to find out that Benita gets to go to medical school, which is amazing for a woman in the 1940s, a black woman in the 1940s to be going to medical school is not saying it's amazing because yay, I mean, not many women could do it. It's the opposite. All women could do it. It's just that they were held back, right? So the fact that she's doing it shows us just how hardworking she is, must have done a lot to get to where she is, but also the dreams that she has, and she's working to find her dreams, to make them real. Just like her brother, she has a lot of dreams, but unlike her brother, she gets to live her dreams. She's going to medical school. We're going to find out that Walter, Mama, and Ruth pay her medical costs, working in their jobs for their angry, mean, rich, and not so nice white people, right? So they take some of their hard-earned money to help Benita get her dreams. We're also going to find out that Benita's done a lot. She's done a lot of clubs and whatnot and different activities. Why? Because she has dreams. And like every person, she should get a chance to try all those dreams and find out what's good for her. Hopefully you, teenagers, the people I'm teaching right now and talking to, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you have a lot of dreams. And how do you find out what dreams are good for you? By trying different things. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that. I'm going to, maybe I want to be a cook, so I'll take some chef classes. Maybe I want to be a doctor. I'll take some medical classes. So you go for all your dreams. That's how you find out what you're good at and what you have to work towards. And that's what Beneatha gets. Walter does not. Walter is the exact opposite of that. So I'm getting a feeling like one of the things that is between Walter and Beneatha is he's angry because she gets to go for her dreams. And flip that around. I don't think Beneatha recognizes or cares that Walter doesn't get his dreams. And she, as we read this book, is going to keep calling him crazy and nuts. Why? Because he is acting a little crazy and nuts, because his dreams being deferred is driving him crazy and nuts. And much like Ruth, Beneatha doesn't see it, and she doesn't help him with it. Let's continue. Beneatha dryly, good morning, everybody. Walter senselessly, how is school coming? Beneatha in the same spirit, lovely, lovely. And you know biology is the greatest. Looking up at him, I dissected something that looked just like you yesterday. Walter, I just wondered if you've made up your mind and everything. Beneatha, gaining in sharpness and impatience. And what did I answer yesterday morning and the day before that? Oh, see, maybe that's why they're having such a hard time. Apparently, Walter has been bothering Beneatha for the same thing he's bothering Ruth about. He wants Beneatha to talk to Mama and have Mama give Walter the money so he can open up his store. And based upon Beneatha's reaction, I think Beneatha is just like Ruth. She's like, no, I'm not going to tell Mama to give money to you so you can give it to Willie Harris and Bobo and start a business that's probably not going to work. You're just going to lose all our money anyway. So I think there are problem lies. Gaining in sharpness and impatience. And what did I answer yesterday morning and the day before that? Ruth from the ironing board, like someone disinterested? No, don't be so nasty, Benny. Beneatha, still to her brother. And the day before that, and the day before that. So he has been asking her every day. Walter, defensively, I'm interested in you. Something wrong with that? Ain't many girls who decide, Walter and Beneatha in unison, to be a doctor. Silence. Walter, have we figured out just exactly how much medical school is going to cost? So this is Walter pointing out to her that I help you by paying for your medical school. So you should help me by talking to Mama about me having some of this money to start my business. Okay, we are good. We are done with assignment number 1. You should have answered all those questions by this point. Make sure you do. If you have missed any, rewind me and go back and find the answers. They're all asked in order, of course. And have a great day. We'll pick up assignment number 2 tomorrow from this exact spot. Thank you very much for your time.